Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Lords of Hotan take control of the always restless shore. We caught up with Hotan leadership on the steps of City Hall after the fight. Congratulations on your victory, kind of a last moment one, but how do you feel it went out there, my friend?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Thank you, Coconut, Censored, Barely Friends, all the purple factions that came out together to take Restless. But everybody listened to calls really well, and once we got into Fort, things got a little dicey. But we put up a good fight and we got the win.
You certainly did. 3 nights in a row, the Syndicate expand their empire. Do you have your eyes set on any other regions?
You know, when we first arrived here, we realized Purple needed a lot of help, so we've been working with other companies to push influence as much as we can, just to kind of get people more war experience. So we're going to continue that and get more server balance moving forward.
Do you have any short-term plans for the hamlets that you might be putting on the mission board?
So I don't know what Terrier's got planned for us, but I assume that we're gonna, before on a previous land, we did invasions together and kept the boards up to date. So I'm assuming that we're gonna do the same thing and try to just help this town grow a little bit.
So it is your intention to be a little proactive in making this region a little bit more populous?
Oh, 100%. We're not the type of group that's gonna sit back and log on for wars. We're gonna be trying to improve the area as much as we can.
Well, my friend, there only is one more thing for me to ask. Is there anything you'd like to say to the citizens of Eternum now that you have this opportunity?
Just a shout out. I've joined this company, a few weeks ago, and I just want to say thank you to Terrier, who has enabled me to shot call the wars and help grow our company, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody moving forward. So thank you, everybody.
Syndicate enthusiasm was high in the archipelago. We asked other participants about their experience in the war. Congratulations on your victory out there tonight in Restless Shore. How do you think it went out there?
I think it went amazing. Everyone fought really, really hard. We had a few parts where we needed to push in, but everyone did a really awesome job, and I'm really proud of everyone here.
Excellent. Is there anybody whose performance you'd like to highlight?
Honestly, is it okay to highlight JDB? I know he was on the enemy team, but damn, that guy was good.
There were more than a few other fights last night as well, starting in Weaver's Fin, where we caught up with Most Wanted leadership.
The war today was incredible, man.
Any standout performances you want to tell us about?
Greasy was a top guy. Very outperformed.
And now that you stand victorious, what are your plans for Weaver's Fin?
Make Weaver Friend great again, my friend.
KOTT news crews were on the run all night, catching up with Barely Friends leadership in Windsward after their fight. Congratulations on your victory out there. They got in the gates with 15 minutes left, but you hunkered down, and I didn't really see them push the flag at that point. How do you see it going down?
When they pushed down our 2 points, we were a little scared, but our leaders got the Zerg together, and we were able to split apart and hold the side gates as well as B standing up. So it was just great leadership, I think, is what took us there.
Fantastic. Is there anyone whose effort you might want to highlight, either on your own team or the opposing teams?
I think the other team did a great job of organizing their pushes, but I do want to highlight Jackal, the governor of Windsward right now. He did a great job organizing our team, and that was a great thing to experience in this war. This is one of my most fun wars, personally. I think it was really close, and everybody agreed. Thank you for everybody that came out.
Now that the Syndicate continues to expand, are you having any plans to adjust the finances of Windsward?
I don't think we're going to be increasing taxes or anything like that. We're happy with keeping it at Tier 5 and paying that tax. We hope that we can support other territories, such as Restless Shore, to get to the same place. I was in that war. It was pretty fun, and we're excited to see what other territories are going to do.
In the nightcap matchup, KOTT was able to wrap up the night by getting a few words from the Commonwealth about their choke management.
Well, I mean, we had our fort assignments before the match even started, so contingency plans were in place for that kind of outcome. We didn't expect it to go that far, though. We figured we'd hold them at B throughout most of the game, so it was a little surprising, but, you know, it's just a matter of good callers and people that are used to working with each other.
I do. Agreed. Is there anyone whose performance out there you might want to highlight while we're thinking about it?
I gotta give a shout out to our callers, Gabe Ward, I Am Bogey, and Savarine. You know, their contributions were outstanding. And then, you know, we had some other people in here, some Trap Chat folks that came in and helped. One of my buddies from back in Vorkasha. So it was a collective. Everybody did a fantastic job.
KOTT guest accommodations at Ebonscale Onsen were provided by the Ebonscale Tourism Council, who reminds you to come on by the hot springs during this night of peace. KOTT would like to remind its subscribers to accept their opulent bestowment, bestowed help yourself style, every 8 hours. And don't forget to stop by any of the various Medley Fair sites tonight and get signed up for the music and dance talent show. It's going to be a peaceful day for minstrels yet again, with another long day of sunshine throughout the land. However, look out for a late evening cold front that will give rise to a 20% chance of invasion from the north. We'll have any late breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Breaking news in our ongoing coverage of the Medley Fair event, as local carpenter Suzanne Weber has workbench destroyed by corruption. Master Carpenter Weber, KOTT News came here to shoot a piece about preparing for the fair, but now it appears the fair may be in jeopardy.
Oh, don't look so surprised.
Well, you seem pretty aloof about the whole thing.
My carpenter's bench is in need of repair.
Well, you're right. I should focus on the task that needs doing, not the task that has been done. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
You're right again, oh wise one. Instead, I'll focus on getting your bench repaired. Heroes wishing to save the Medley Fair event should contact Master Carpenter Weber about rebuilding their workbench. Turning to the weather, and after yet another beautiful day of sunshine and music all day long, a 30% chance of invasion will arise, along with music playing all night long. 3 submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Syndicate forces of Lords of Hotan attack the Covenant forces of Spudbuds for control of the northernmost region of Morningdale. From their staging grounds in Restless Shore, Lords of Hotan seek to expand their empire into Morningdale, securing an observation post on the Death Wall. The Spudbuds have spent the week consolidating their forces after their emergency response to last week's megastorm. They should be well focused on the task. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Warconda assail the Syndicate forces of Censored for control of the secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. Warconda forces return to the mosh pit once again after being banished from the region 4 days ago. What plan might they have tonight? It was the forces of the Censored who performed said banishment, and that banishment will stand for as long as they control the keys. In the nightcap, the Marauders of CB4 assault the Covenant forces of Tropical X for the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Gusto and his whole crew is coming for Reekwater, so look out especially for Stabmaster Arson and the Silent But Deadly. For Tropical X, they are well rested from their last defensive effort 5 days ago, and should be well prepared to stand their ground. We'll have the outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news, and this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as all 3 great houses hold court and defend their respective regions. We have an update for the ongoing Medley Fair coverage, as Carpenter Weber's workbench has been repaired thanks to rapid response by the citizens. Thanks to you, the show may still go on. KOTT would like to remind its subscribers that Prime members should be on the lookout for an instant drop available for a limited time. Thinking of practicing the guitar today? Well, you couldn't ask for more perfect conditions all day long, but look out in the evening for a small typhoon breaking land on the west coast. Only one lineup submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it is cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant forces of Tropical X challenge the champs of the Censored for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. The great house of Tropical X seeks to extend its lands by setting its sights on the heart of the island. A win tonight could get them out of the swamp and into the central corridor. For the forces of the Censored, their first defense of the title since acquiring it for themselves just 4 days ago from the Spudbuds. They're sure to still be hungry. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the forces of the Censored hold off Tropical X and retain their heavyweight championship title. KOTT News caught up with Censored representatives on the steps of City Hall.
Congratulations out there tonight, my friends. The only war tonight, so you were able to focus entirely on the effort. How did you think it went out there?
It went really well for us. We had a lot of our good friends come and help us out with the defense. We had a little hiccup outside the fort, which we're going to be fixing for our future wars and making sure we don't repeat the same mistake over and over again. But we fought really well. They fought really well, and a lot of us came together. Thank you so much for Peachles out there, Returning the Homies, Coconut Wire for helping us out. You guys are amazing. Thank you for our friends from the other from Grain. You guys came out, gave us a lot. Thank you guys so much.
The medley fair goes on. Are you excited about this? Will you be entering the talent show?
Oh man, I will definitely be trying to enter the talent show. I do know that right now my schedule's a little weird, but I do know I'm going to be letting people know about it in Discord to make sure we can try to get as many people together as possible.
Returning to the ongoing coverage of the Medley Fair event, local canines have been digging up the flower beds and causing delays in preparation. Any botanists willing to help in recovery should also note that application of water will not be possible if you keep the buckets in your hot bar, so be sure to inventory swap. KOTT News will bring you more from the Medley Fair as the story develops. Turning to the weather, and once again the sun will trek across the Eternum sky, scaring off the corrupted. But look out as night falls and the temperatures drop, as a 20% chance of invasion will arise at the tips. A single roster submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant forces of Tropical X rob the Syndicate forces of Barely Friends in their attempt to steal away the financial capital of Windsward. Tropical X forces aggressively attempting to secure a region of the Central Corridor, fighting on back-to-back nights to gain some income-producing land. Barely Friends continue to keep taxes low and infrastructure high, focusing their attention largely on nurturing the hamlet, just as they'll be focusing on defending it tonight. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the Syndicate security of Barely Friends locked down the vault and retained control of the financial capital of Windsward. We caught up with a member of security after the attempted break-in. Tropical X, never a opponent to be taken lightly. How do you feel they did out there tonight?
You know what, John? It was rough. It was, I had a lot of fun. It was intense. And, they were at fort. They were at point. It was a long, hard-fought battle. At the end of the day, they're a really tough opponent. They're a really tough company. And we're just glad that we were able to war with them. And, today we came out on top.
Is there anybody whose efforts out there you'd like to highlight on your own team?
My governor, I always want to call out, Jackal. So he's... brings us all together. He shot calls for us. He is amazing. So absolutely the number one guy. In terms of other people out there, my group doing well, my company. I also want to thank about Pat and his friends for coming out. Absolutely amazing people. So hopefully, right, we get them a territory soon too.
Well, is there anything special coming up for Windsward that you'd like to let the citizens of Eternum know about?
Yeah, so obviously with the music coming out, we want to make sure Windsward's a place for everyone to come out and enjoy music. So, preferably we want people to enjoy music wherever they can. But outside of Windsward, where people do, that is something, hopefully we can get some bands going out there. So we can have big bands, people coming around, getting tips in. We want to make sure this music is lively.
Returning to our ongoing coverage of the Medley Fair event, local hymenoptid entomologist Luis Morales is dealing with some very angry bees. Luis is calling on the citizens to aid event organizers by helping to apply smoke to the hives in order to calm the bees. Turning to the weather, and if you can believe it, the sun is going to rise and fall yet again today. After which, a 30% chance of invasion will arise, so plan your travel accordingly. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Syndicate forces of Retirement Homies assault the Covenant forces of the Commonwealth for control of the resort destination hamlet of Ebonscale. Retirement Homies were turned away from their fishing retirement last week in Reekwater. Turning their attention to a mountainside community indicates they intend to stay active. For the Commonwealth, protecting the citizens and operators of the medicinal hot spring onsens has been their priority since the mega storm. They'll give their all to keep them unionized and free. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report.
Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Retirement Homies secure their retirement community in the resort destination of Ebonscale. We met with a Retirement Homie representative after the fight and got their reactions to the outcome. Congratulations on your victory, my friend. It was a great fight as far as I could see. How do you think it went out there?
I honestly, everyone was amazing. The people that I slotted, I felt like were powerhouses. Everyone did their part. Everyone did great. Kono was my shot caller for one group. Jackal, of course.
Well, inquiring minds want to know, what are you going to do with the hamlet now that you're in control of the resort destination of Ebonscale?
We're going to try to make it to the hub where everyone wants to go to and hang out, dude. That's the bottom line. That's our goal.
Returning to the ongoing coverage of the Medley Fair, Luis Morales has recovered completely from the stiffness associated with the bee stings and is showing signs of complete flexibility again. KOTT subscribers should also note there will be a double experience weekend for fishing and music. We go now to Reekwater, where JC is on the scene for the grand opening of the newly completed High Bridge Overpass expansion. JC? Thanks, JC. I'm here in Reekwater, where the forces of Tropical X have completed the High Bridge Overpass lane expansion, and it feels amazing. Just another example of diligent hamlet management by one of the great houses of the community. JC? Thanks, JC, and turning to the weather, it looks like the sun is going to take an odd path across the sky this afternoon before shooting off into space, which will cause a northern cold front that will dredge up a 30% chance of invasion later on. 2 submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Syndicate forces of Dancing Phoenix attack the Covenant forces of Spudbuds for control of the northernmost region of Morningdale.
Newcomers Dancing Phoenix make their first attempt to take land on the island, and they're going for the forward observation post strategy on the northern death wall. Spudbud forces have recovered well after the megastorm 2 weeks ago when their emergency forces responded to the needs of the citizens, and now they stand prepared to defend their sacred land. Later, the Marauders of CB4 assault the Covenant forces of Trapchat for control of the bear-infested deep forests of Brightwood. Gusto and the boys return to attempt a land grab once again, and this time they're bringing their own version of bear repellent. But how was it made? The forces of Trapchat continue in their reconstruction efforts for their church after its destruction during the storm, but they'll take time off to deal with these ex-cons. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.
Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Dancing Phoenix secure the forward observation post of Morningdale. KOTT News caught up with Dancing Phoenix in Morningdale after their victory.
Congratulations on your victory last night in Morningdale. It went amazing as far as I can tell. How did you think it went out there?
Oh, we came out to game. The plan was to game. Oh, and we gamed. We gamed hard. We got the dub. We got Morningdale. We lost the hot tub because now we're standing on a pile of baskets, but that's okay because we got the territory. We are celebrating.
Is there anybody on your team or the other team, the opposing team, whose personal efforts you might like to highlight?
I would highlight the efforts of Sir Derp Wigglies. He is the champion of the Dancing Phoenix.
Beyond that, do you intend to prevent anybody else from trying to attempt to manipulate the citizens into rising up against you?
No, we kind of just, let them do their own thing. If they want to rise up, we'll squash them. It's no big deal. It happens. We're tyrants here, so, people come to expect that from us.
Quickly to the weather today, and after the sun travels across the sky before setting, as it does, a 30% chance of invasion will arise sporadically across the island. 2 submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Up first, the Marauders of CB4 assail the Syndicate forces of the Censored for control of the secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. Gusto and the boys make another move for land, this time returning to the corruption mosh pits of Cutlass Keys. For the forces of the Censored, they are fighting 2 simultaneously tonight, so may be looking for some help filling out the roster. Meanwhile, the Covenant forces of Most Wanted challenge the Syndicate forces of the Censored for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. It is unknown at this time if the forces of Most Wanted, Limited Liability Company, is seeking personal glory in the ring or an easement upon which to run a pipeline. As noted earlier, the Censored forces will be split among the 2 fights tonight. But you're fooling yourselves if you think the champs aren't coming out to defend their belt. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.